Tell me something. Have you ever wondered why life becomes the quietest? Right before it changes your life forever? Why the people you once trusted begin disappearing? Why the rooms that once felt warm suddenly feel too small? Why your heart begins craving a silence you cannot explain? It is not punishment, it is not abandonment, it is preparation. Stay with me, because when you finish this message, something inside you will awaken. And you will finally understand that you are a queen. And it's time to start acting like one, the sacred withdrawal. There comes a moment in a woman's life when everything around her begins to feel unfamiliar, not wrong, not broken, just too small. It is the moment when conversations that once excited her now feel shallow. Rooms that once made her feel alive now make her feel tired. People she once poured her soul into suddenly stand before her as echoes, faint, distant, no longer aligned with the rhythm of her heart. This is the sacred withdrawal, a quiet pull, a gentle separation, not forced by life, but ordained by the deeper truth inside her. Most women misunderstand this moment. They call it loneliness, isolation, abandonment. But withdrawal is not life leaving you behind. It is life pulling you inward, into the place where transformation takes root. Because before a woman rises, she must return to herself. And returning to yourself requires stepping away from the noise, the patterns, the versions of you that only existed because someone else needed you to be small. You begin withdrawing from the conversations that drain you. You withdraw from people who do not know how to hold your heart. You withdraw from expectations that once dictated your every move. It feels like losing, but it's actually gaining yourself one breath at a time. You start to notice that your spirit becomes sensitive in this season. You hear things differently. You sense things before they happen. You can feel a lie even before it forms into words. This is not paranoia. This is awakening. A woman in withdrawal becomes spiritually sharper, emotionally wiser, mentally clearer. She starts to understand that peace is not found in a place. It is found in permission. The permission to be who she is without explanation, without apology, without performing softness she no longer feels. And withdrawal gives her that permission. It is the universe saying, "Daughter, step inward. You have outgrown the noise. You have outgrown who you once were. Come see what you are becoming." This is why the sacred withdrawal often feels sudden. You wake up one morning and realize you're not interested in proving yourself anymore. You're not chasing validation. You're not trying to be chosen. You're not bending, shrinking, reshaping your identity for someone else's comfort. You crave depth. You crave truth. You crave authenticity so intensely that anything else feels suffocating. And this inner shift scares people who benefited from your silence. They will say you've changed. They will say you're distant. They will say you're not the same. But the truth is, you finally remembered who you are. The sacred withdrawal is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is the universe clearing the space around you so that nothing distracts you from the woman you are about to become. And just when you settle into this solitude, something else begins to rise. A quiet, deeper than anything you've ever felt. A silence that is not empty, but full of meaning. A silence that is not a void, but a doorway. A silence that whispers. Now that you have stepped away from the world, are you ready to hear the truth inside you? And this brings you to what comes next. A silence that doesn't feel like silence at all. It feels like a revelation waiting to be heard. 2. The uncomfortable silence. At first, the silence is unsettling. You're used to noise, emotional noise, social noise, mental noise. You're used to filling every space with something. A conversation, a distraction, a responsibility, a thought that keeps you from thinking too deeply. But now, there is nothing to drown in. No familiar chaos to cling to. Just you, and the sound of your own soul rising to the surface. This silence feels uncomfortable because it confronts you with everything you've avoided, the wounds you kept busy to escape, the truths you kept quiet to maintain peace, the emotions you buried so you could be strong for everyone else. Silence exposes the parts of you that noise protected. You begin hearing things you never noticed before, the tremble in your own breath, the unspoken dreams you tucked away, the exhaustion you labeled as normal, the pain you carried like duty. You realize how long you survived by ignoring yourself. And now, there is no one left to distract you from you. This silence is where healing begins, but healing rarely feels holy in the beginning. It feels messy, it feels raw, it feels like standing in front of your own reflection, without makeup, without filters, without pretending. But the beauty of silence is that it tells the truth gently. It doesn't shout, it doesn't shame. It simply shows you where you're hurting and where you're ready to grow. You start to remember your desires, not the ones you adopted from others, but the ones that were born with you. You remember the version of yourself who had clarity before life taught her doubt. You remember the softness you abandoned trying to survive. This uncomfortable silence becomes a sanctuary, a place where you begin piecing together the fragments of your soul. A place where you hear guidance that noise always drowned out. You realize you were never lost, you were simply unavailable to yourself. And silence brings you back. It teaches you that peace is not an external achievement, it is an internal alignment. The world doesn't need to calm down for you to be calm. People don't need to change for you to feel grounded. Life doesn't need to slow down for your spirit to feel still. You learn that silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of truth. And in that truth you begin to feel a shift, a pull, a whisper. Something inside you says, now that you've heard yourself clearly, are you ready to let life move you? Because the next stage is not stillness, it is motion. A motion that begins with something unexpected, doors closing, suddenly without warning. 3. When doors close without warning. One of the most confusing experiences a woman faces is this one. Just when she thinks she is finally finding peace, life shuts doors she didn't expect to lose. A friendship ends, a relationship dissolves, an opportunity slips away, a chapter closes before you feel ready, and you stand there wondering, why now? Why this? Why does everything fall apart when I finally begin to understand myself? But that is the point. Once a woman discovers her truth, life begins removing everything that cannot honor it. These doors do not close because you failed. They close because you evolved, your spirit upgraded, your energy shifted. Your identity outgrew the environment that once held it. Some doors close because you stopped shrinking. Some close because you stopped begging. Some close because you stopped pretending you didn't know better. And some close simply because they no longer match the woman you are becoming. When life closes a door, it is not rejection, it is realignment. Every ending becomes a form of protection, a hidden mercy, a redirection, written in a language only your soul understands. Sometimes life ends connections you were too attached to leave. It removes people you would have never said goodbye to. It breaks cycles you didn't have the strength to break on your own. But understand this: you cannot receive what is meant for the woman you're becoming while holding on to what was meant for the woman you used to be. Doors close because the universe refuses to let you settle. It refuses to let you dim again. It refuses to let you love smaller. It refuses to let you abandon yourself one more time. You will feel the loss. You will feel the confusion. You will feel the emotional sting of things ending abruptly. But look closely. Beneath the pain, there is a quiet knowing. A whisper that says, if this left, it was never part of your elevation. When one door closes, you might feel trapped, but that's only because you're staring at the door that shut, instead of the hallway life is trying to lead you through. And here's the twist. Life rarely opens the next door immediately. It leaves you in the hallway for a while, a space where nothing makes sense, a space where you are no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. This hallway is sacred. This in-between is divine. This uncertainty is the birthplace of your new identity. And as you stand in this space, you can feel something rising inside you. A sense that the closed door was not the end. It was the clearing. A space is forming. A path is opening. A new chapter is assembling itself behind the scenes. And you realize every closed door wasn't a loss. It was preparation for the one door you were always meant to walk through. And now the question becomes, what happens when a woman finally steps into the space life has cleared for her? 4. People leaving. As a sign. There comes a season in every woman's life when people begin slipping away quietly, without argument, without explosion, without a dramatic ending. They simply drift, and the drifting feels personal. It feels like rejection, like abandonment, like something inside you is no longer worthy of being held. But what if I told you their leaving was not a loss? What if I told you it was a sign that you are shifting, a sign that your energy is rising, a sign that your soul has begun walking toward a future they were never meant to enter with you? People don't always leave because they stop caring. Sometimes they leave because they cannot breathe in the atmosphere you are entering. They cannot walk at the pace your spirit now requires. They cannot understand the language of your evolution because you are no longer speaking from the same wound. As you elevate, your conversations deepen, your standards grow, your boundaries sharpen, your priorities shift from survival to wholeness. And not everyone can meet the version of you that is emerging. Some people were sent only to escort you to a certain chapter, not to the ending. The moment your spirit begins to demand truth, false connections crumble, weak bonds loosen, tired relationships dissolve. Anything built on convenience rather than authenticity will fall apart under the weight of your rising. It is not betrayal, it is alignment. Think of your life as a vessel rising to a higher altitude. As it ascends, the air changes. Some things that were comfortable at lower levels cannot survive where you're going. Some people who loved you at your wounded stage cannot love you at your healed stage. Your light becomes too bright for those who are committed to their own darkness. This is why people leave. A woman who is transforming does not lose people. She sheds them. Like old skins, like outgrown versions of herself, like stories that no longer reflect her truth. And when people exit your life, it is often the universe doing for you what you are too loyal, too loving, too hopeful to do for yourself. You don't realize it, but every departure is making room, clearing space, preparing you for connections that match your becoming. A woman cannot receive what is meant for her, while holding on to those who were meant only for her past. It hurts, yes. It stings, yes. It shakes the foundation of your heart, yes. But endings carry messages, and their message is simple. You are entering a chapter where not everyone can follow. And as you stand in the echo of their absence, your heart begins to whisper a question you can no longer ignore. If losing them feels painful, then what is the pain really trying to teach you? That question leads you straight into the next truth. 5. The pain of detaching. Detaching from someone you once loved, trusted, or leaned on is one of the most brutal forms of self-growth. It feels like tearing out a piece of yourself. It feels like pulling your hand away from a fire you stayed in for too long, knowing it burns, yet grieving the warmth. Painful, isn't it? Because detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. You stop carrying the weight of relationships that exhaust you. You stop carrying emotions that are not reciprocated. You stop carrying responsibilities that were never yours. But pain arises when your heart and your soul disagree. Your heart wants to stay where it felt comfort. even if that comfort slowly killed you. Your soul wants to rise where it feels truth, even if that truth breaks you open. This war between comfort and calling is the pain of detaching. You are not just letting go of a person, you are letting go of a dream you built with them. You are letting go of the version of yourself you became around them. You are letting go of the illusion that they were meant to stay forever. Detachment requires emotional honesty. You must face the things you denied, the red flags you romanticized, the excuses you repeated to protect your heart from shattering. You start to see clearly that holding on was hurting you more than losing them ever will. So you choose yourself. But choosing yourself can feel like betrayal when you were taught that love means staying no matter the cost. But here is the truth. Staying in the wrong place is a much deeper betrayal than leaving it. Detaching forces you to confront the loneliness beneath dependency. It uncovers how many times you abandoned yourself trying to keep someone else. It reveals the emotional debts you paid with your peace. And when you finally break away, you feel empty. But that emptiness is not a void, it is space. Space your soul has been begging for. Space where your identity can grow without being overshadowed. Space where your spirit can breathe without feeling suffocated. Pain is the teacher. Detachment is the lesson. Healing is the graduation. And just when the pain begins to soften, something remarkable begins happening inside you. Something subtle, something unexpected, something invisible to the world, yet undeniable within you. A transformation begins, quiet, slow, delicate, shifting you from who you were into who you were always meant to be. And that brings you to the next awakening. 6. The rare gift of invisible transformation. The most powerful transformation a woman undergoes happens long before anyone sees the change. It happens silently, beneath the surface, in the invisible spaces of her soul, where no one applauds, no one validates, no one even notices. Transformation begins the moment pain stops being your enemy and becomes your instructor. You start to see patterns instead of people. You start to notice energy instead of words. You start to hear your intuition louder than your fears. This invisible transformation is sacred because it happens in the dark, away from the eyes of the world, away from the expectations of others, away from the pressures to perform strength you no longer feel. You begin to unlearn the lies you lived with. You unlearn that love must hurt to be real. You unlearn that your worth is measured by how much you give. You unlearn that silence is weakness. You unlearn that survival is the same as living. Slowly, you become a new woman inside the same body. Your thoughts shift first. Your heart follows. Your behavior adjusts. Your energy reshapes itself. You begin attracting differently because you are vibrating differently. Invisible transformation means you are becoming before the world sees you becoming. It's like a seed underground, buried, unseen, uncelebrated, yet preparing to break through the soil with a strength no one expects. You no longer react the same way. The same people no longer have the same access. The same chaos no longer pulls you in. You stop internalizing what is not yours. You stop accepting what dimmed your spirit. You stop explaining your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. This inner shift is slow, gentle, but unstoppable, like dawn rising even when the night refuses to end. And then one day, without warning, you wake up different. Your mind feels clearer, your heart feels lighter, your boundaries feel natural, your silence feels powerful, your peace feels familiar, as if you have finally returned to a version of yourself you lost long ago. People will notice something in you they can't explain, a glow that isn't about appearance, a confidence that isn't about ego, a calmness that isn't about detachment. You look like a woman who has walked through fire and come out carrying the flame instead of the ashes. That is invisible transformation, a becoming that begins long before anyone realizes you have arrived. And yet, as you step fully into this new version of yourself, a final question begins to rise inside you. If this is who I am becoming in silence, then what awaits me when the world finally hears my new voice? 7. Your spirit outgrows your environment. There comes a moment, quiet, almost unremarkable, when a woman realizes that the life around her no longer matches the life within her. It happens in small ways first. A slight discomfort in conversations you once enjoyed. A restless feeling in spaces you once called home. A sharp awareness that you are bending yourself too much, shrinking yourself too often, softening your truth too quietly just to fit into rooms you have already spiritually outgrown. When your spirit outgrows your environment, the discomfort becomes a message, not a punishment, not a rejection, a message. The message is simple: you cannot evolve and remain in the same place. Growth is not just about what you gain, it is about what you can no longer tolerate. You begin craving honesty in a world that celebrates pretending. You begin craving depth in a world obsessed with shallow acceptance. You begin craving peace in environments that feed on noise. Your inner world expands faster than your outer world can accommodate, and suddenly you find yourself feeling misplaced, like a guest in a life you once believed belonged to you. It is uncomfortable, painfully uncomfortable, because when a woman starts outgrowing her environment, she faces an inner war between loyalty and destiny. Part of you wants to stay where it feels familiar. The other part knows that familiarity can become a cage. Every woman who is awakening faces this crossroads. Stay small to remain accepted, or grow into the woman she is meant to be, even if it costs her approval. And what makes this process even harder is that the environment rarely changes with you. People expect you to stay who you were, the version of you that served their comfort, their needs, their convenience. But the truth is, your spirit doesn't care about their comfort. Your spirit cares about your calling. That calling begins whispering, "You don't belong here anymore." Rooms that once felt warm now feel tight. Friendships that once felt nourishing now feel draining. Dreams that once felt big now feel too small, almost childish. Your spirit has grown, stretched, awakened. And the old environment cannot survive the new frequency you carry. And because you are evolving, the atmosphere around you becomes too thin to breathe in. You feel suffocated by conversations that lack depth, by relationships that lack honesty, by routines that lack purpose. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something is right with you. Elevation requires new air. Growth requires new soil. Becoming requires new light. You do not rise by clinging to the environment that shaped your past. You rise by stepping into the one that aligns with your future. But even as you rise, a question starts forming inside your heart. A question filled with fear, curiosity, and hope. If I leave what I've outgrown, will everything I need appear at the right time? That question leads you straight into the next revelation. 8. The mystery of divine timing. There is a strange rhythm to life. A rhythm that doesn't obey your plans, your deadlines, your expectations. Divine timing does not rush. Divine timing does not delay. Divine timing simply arrives when the soul is ready, even if the mind is confused and the heart feels impatient. Everything you lost, every person who walked away, every opportunity that slipped through your fingers, every door that closed before you reached it, none of it was random. It was scheduled. Life removes things on time, not to hurt you, but to prepare you. Sometimes you think you're ready, but readiness is not about desire. Readiness is about alignment. Wanting something doesn't mean you are prepared to hold it. Loving someone doesn't mean they're meant to stay. Being capable doesn't mean it is your season to receive. Divine timing protects you from premature burdens. It shields you from blessings that would crush you if given too soon. It delays certain things because your character is still being shaped. It removes certain people because your future requires a clearer path. And the hardest part, the part that wounds you quietly, is that divine timing often feels like abandonment. You pray for a breakthrough, and instead you experience silence. You ask for clarity, and instead you walk through fog. You hope for a beginning, and instead you face an ending. But endings are not a sign that life is ignoring you. They are a sign that life is rearranging you. Everything meant for you is already traveling toward you. Not slowly, not randomly, but with precision. You are not waiting on your destiny. Your destiny is waiting on your alignment. And alignment sometimes requires isolation, stillness, preparation, transformation. There is a purpose for every delayed answer. There is wisdom behind every closed door. There is timing behind every loss. But even with this understanding, you may still wonder, if everything is on schedule, then why do I feel so hidden right now? That question carries you into the next revelation, one of the deepest truths a woman can ever learn. 9. When God hides you, there is a stage in every woman's becoming where she becomes unseen, not because she is insignificant, but because she is being protected. Hiddenness is not punishment. Hiddenness is incubation. You are hidden because your soul is under construction. Your strength is forming. Your wisdom is deepening. Your identity is solidifying. In seasons of hiddenness, your phone becomes quieter. Your circle becomes smaller. Your opportunities slow down. Your path becomes narrow. On the surface, it looks like life is passing you by. But beneath the surface, something sacred is taking place. You are being carved, refined, reshaped. When God hides you, He is not denying you visibility. He is preparing you so that when visibility comes, you do not collapse under its weight. Hiddenness is divine protection from false connections, from premature exposure, from environments that would contaminate your purpose. You are hidden because the world is not ready for your healed voice, your elevated presence, your stronger boundaries, your awakened spirit. And you are not ready to meet the world until you meet the next version of yourself. Hiddenness protects your becoming. You see, a seed is powerful, but only after it has been buried. The burial is dark. It feels lonely. It feels like nothing is happening. But beneath the soil, life is forming that no one can see. You are the same. Your hidden season is not a silence. It is a strategy. While others are chasing validation, you are building depth. While others are seeking applause, you are building character. While others are fighting to be seen, you are learning to see yourself. And when the time is right, when your spirit is strong enough, your identity is rooted enough, your purpose is clear enough, you will be revealed, not as who you were, but as who you have become. But here is the most powerful truth of all. Being hidden is not the end of your story. It is the womb of your transformation. And when that season completes itself, you will step out not as the woman you used to be, but as the woman you were always destined to become. And just when you think the hiddenness is the conclusion, another whisper rises inside your soul. If this is what happens when I am hidden, then what awaits me when the world finally sees who I have become? 10. You were never behind. There comes a moment in every woman's journey when she looks at her life and wonders if she missed something. A sign, a calling, an opportunity, a moment that was meant to shift her onto a brighter road. And in that quiet contemplation, doubt creeps in like a slow-moving fog. You begin to question your pace, your progress, your path. But the truth is simple and profoundly freeing. You were never behind, not even once, not even for a second. You were moving according to a timetable that was never visible to the people who tried to measure you. You were unfolding according to a rhythm your heart understood long before your mind could fully comprehend it. Your spirit has always known something your anxieties tried to forget. You are exactly where you were meant to be. The world often speaks in the language of haste. People rush through their lives, comparing their chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. But your life has never been a race. Your journey has never been a competition. Your story has never been meant to mirror anyone else's. And so, in the moments where you felt slow, still, or stuck, life was actually preparing you, preparing your heart, preparing your character, preparing your vision. Because some seasons are not about movement. Some seasons are about alignment. You see, solitude is not punishment. It is strategy. A divine strategy that pulls you away from noise so you can hear your own soul speaking again. A strategy that slows your pace so your spirit can catch up with everything you're becoming. Your loneliness was not a delay, it was a recalibration. Your setbacks were not detours, they were redirections. Your tears were not signs of weakness, they were signs of cleansing, water clearing the path for the woman you were meant to rise into. Think about how flowers bloom. Not all at once, not all at the same time. Each one opens in its own hour, under its own light, with its own quiet courage. And nobody ever looks at a flower blooming late and says, it should have opened earlier. We simply accept that nature unfolds as it must. So why do you deny yourself the same grace? You were not meant to bloom according to the expectations of the world. You were meant to bloom according to the timing of the one who designed you. At your life with gentleness. Look back at the moments you thought you were behind. You will see something miraculous. Every moment of stillness was actually a moment of construction. Something was being built inside you. Resilience, discernment, wisdom, softness, strength. And now that you stand at the edge of a new becoming, you realize something powerful. Nothing was late. Everything was necessary. Your path is not crooked. Your timeline is not broken. Your story is not delayed. You are not late. You are simply right on time, arriving at the very season your soul required. And once you understand that, you begin to rise in a way that demands a new kind of respect, which brings us quietly, inevitably into the next truth. 11. The rebirth of self-respect. There is a turning point in a woman's life when she finally learns how to honor her own peace, not as a luxury, not as an option, but as a sacred requirement. It's the moment she stops negotiating with her worth, stops shrinking for comfort, stops apologizing for her intuition. A woman who respects herself becomes a mirror that reflects truth into the world around her. Her boundaries become clear, her voice becomes steady, her presence becomes unmistakably powerful. Self-respect is not loud, it is not aggressive, it is not forceful, it is quiet, and that is precisely why people feel it so deeply. It is in the subtle shift of your energy. The way you no longer respond to chaos, the way you walk away from conversations that drain your soul, the way you protect your schedule, your heart, your inner peace, like it is holy ground, because now you understand that it always was. You begin to realize people treat you according to what you allow. And so you stop allowing what dishonors your spirit. You stop accommodating disrespect wrapped in excuses. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already chosen not to understand you. Your silence becomes your boundary. Your presence becomes your power. Your absence becomes your lesson. There are women who rise by force, and there are women who rise by truth. You, my dear, are rising by truth, by knowing who you are, by honoring who you are not, by refusing to carry what is not yours. And suddenly, very suddenly, the world adjusts. People who took advantage of your kindness no longer can. People who underestimated your strength begin to see your depth. People who expected you to break start witnessing your rebuilding. You are no longer bending to fit into places that were beneath you. You are no longer explaining your standards to people who thrive on confusion. You are no longer abandoning yourself for the comfort of others. Honor your peace, and peace will honor you. Respect yourself, and life will return the respect in ways you never imagined, through opportunities that align, through relationships that uplift, through environments that nourish, through moments that awaken. And as you step into this rebirth of self-respect, something else begins to reveal itself, a deeper, quieter transformation. The emergence of a woman who rises not from noise, but from stillness. And this leads us, inevitably and beautifully, to the next unfolding. 12. The woman who rises from stillness. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is where the soul gathers strength, where wisdom accumulates quietly, where clarity rises like morning light, breaking through a window you forgot was there. The woman who rises from stillness is not the woman she used to be. She has shed her old expectations. She has released her old wounds. She has dissolved the versions of herself that were built on survival instead of truth. She rises slowly, not because she is unsure, but because she is intentional. Stillness teaches her how to move with purpose. Stillness teaches her how to hear what others miss. Stillness teaches her how to trust the whisper within more than the noise around her. In her stillness, she discovers that power is not always explosive. Sometimes power is gentle. Sometimes power is silent. Sometimes power is simply refusing to be moved by anything that does not align with her spirit. From this stillness, she gains a new kind of vision. Not the vision of the eyes, but the vision of the soul. She begins to see her path with clarity. She begins to sense her season before it arrives. She begins to understand that everything she lost was part of what she was meant to release. And everything she is now stepping into is part of what she was meant to receive. She rises without fear. She rises without comparison. She rises without needing permission. Her strength is not loud, but it is undeniable. Her presence is not demanding, but it is unforgettable. Her energy does not chase, but it attracts everything aligned with her becoming. And as she rises from this sacred silence, she embodies a new truth. A truth that echoes through every choice she makes. Elevation begins in the quiet place. Transformation begins in the hidden place. Rebirth begins in the still place. She is no longer waiting to be seen. She is no longer asking to be chosen. She is no longer searching for validation outside of herself. She has found her voice in her silence. She has found her strength in her softness. She has found her purpose in her pause. And now, as she steps forward, calm, grounded, awakened, the world feels her differently. Not because she changed who she is, but because she finally remembered who she has always been. She rises, stronger, clearer, brighter, wiser, and her stillness becomes the birthplace of her elevation. Because the woman who rises from stillness does not simply move, she ascends. 13. Separation reveals your real value. There are seasons in a woman's life when everything she once held close seems to fall away. People drift, situations crumble, familiar places lose their meaning. Life begins to peel away the layers she once thought she needed in order to feel whole. And in the beginning, this separation feels like abandonment. It feels like loss. It feels like the universe is taking more than it gives. But slowly, gently, a deeper truth begins to emerge. Separation is revelation. The moment life removes what distracted you, your value finally becomes visible. Because as long as you were surrounded by noise, you couldn't hear your own voice. As long as you were surrounded by people who pulled at you, you couldn't feel your own strength. As long as you were surrounded by situations that kept you small, you couldn't recognize how expansive you truly were. Sometimes life has to clear the room so you can finally hear your own spirit speaking again. You learn through the quiet, through the solitude, through the emptiness that once scared you, that nothing was truly lost, only revealed. Your worth was not built in the noise, it was hidden beneath it. For years, you may have given pieces of yourself to people who saw your kindness as convenience. You may have poured your love into places that were never meant to hold it. You may have dimmed your light just so others could remain comfortable in their shadows. But separation pulls all of that away. Suddenly, there are no distractions, no false attachments, no voices telling you who you should be. You finally meet yourself without interruptions, and in that meeting you begin to see you were never ordinary. You were simply surrounded by people who couldn't see your extraordinariness. You were never too emotional. You were simply in environments that lacked emotional depth. You were never too much. You were simply with people who offered too little. Separation exposes your value by removing everything that tried to convince you you didn't have any. And once that revelation lands in your spirit, a shift begins. A powerful, irreversible shift. You stop trying to prove your worth. You stop chasing validation. You stop apologizing for your sensitivity, your power, your intuition, your presence. Because now you understand your value does not rise and fall with people's ability to see it. It exists independently. It is constant. It is inherent. It is undeniable. And the moment a woman understands her value without needing confirmation, she becomes a woman who no longer runs after what diminishes her. Which leads us into the next unfolding. 14. When you stop running after anything, there comes a sacred turning point. A moment when a woman simply puts down the chase. She stops running after attention. She stops running after answers. She stops running after people who are walking away. She stops running after a future that will unfold with or without her pressure. When you stop running after anything, something extraordinary happens. You return to yourself. You no longer shrink to be chosen. You no longer beg to be understood. You no longer explain your worth to those who benefit from misunderstanding it. Instead, you rise, not with noise, not with force, but with clarity. Because chasing is a symptom of forgetting who you are. Running is what you do when you believe what you want exists outside of you. But rising occurs when you remember that nothing meant for you needs to be pursued with desperation. And so you stop running. And the very moment you stop, you begin to see what has been waiting for you all along. You see that peace was always available to you. You see that self-respect was never gone, only unattended. You see that love does not require you to lose yourself. You see that the right people are drawn to your presence, not your pursuit. Stopping is not giving up. Stopping is waking up. When you stop chasing, you make space for what is meant to arrive. When you stop forcing, you make room for what is meant to unfold. When you stop searching, you allow what was searching for you to finally find you. And in this stillness, this deliberate, powerful stillness, a transformation begins. Your energy starts to gather itself. Your strength starts to concentrate. Your spirit becomes grounded, centered, aligned. You begin to realize you never needed to run, because what is yours knows exactly how to reach you. Your life stops feeling like a race and starts feeling like a homecoming. Your relationships stop feeling like tests and start feeling like reflections. Your decisions stop feeling like survival and start feeling like sovereignty. And the world feels your shift. People who once assumed your loyalty was blind begin to see your boundaries. People who thought your softness was weakness begin to witness your wisdom. People who expected you to break begin to watch you build. You rise quietly, steadily, intentionally. No chasing, no forcing, no pleading, no proving, just rising. And as you rise, something remarkable starts to happen inside you. Something subtle yet undeniable. You no longer need certainty to feel secure, which leads us softly and powerfully into the next awakening. 15. The shift from needing to know. There is a moment in a woman's spiritual awakening where the need for answers dissolves. Not because she stops caring, not because she stops feeling, but because she learns to trust the unseen more than the uncertain. She realizes something profound. Knowing is not the source of peace, alignment is. This is the shift, the quiet internal shift that changes everything. You stop needing explanations. You stop needing closure from others. You stop needing to understand why someone left, why something failed, why a path closed, why a season ended. Because you begin to understand something deeper. If it left, it was misaligned. If it stayed, it was purposeful. If it broke, it was fragile. If it grew, it was meant. You no longer interrogate life, you receive it. You no longer fight the unknown, you surrender to it. And surrender is not weakness. Surrender is wisdom. Surrender is trusting the direction of your becoming even when the map is invisible. Surrender is letting your intuition lead the way even when logic tries to keep up. Your inner knowing becomes your compass. Your peace becomes your guide. Your alignment becomes your leadership. You start moving differently, not impulsively, not reactively, but intuitively. You feel the difference between forcing and flowing. You sense the pull of what is right for you before it becomes obvious. You withdraw from what drains you without needing a reason. You lean toward what nourishes you without seeking permission. Answers become secondary. Alignment becomes everything. Because you realize that peace doesn't come from control. Peace comes from trust. And so you trust. You trust your growth. You trust your timing. You trust your evolution. You trust the unfolding of everything meant for you. This shift is the birth of a new woman, a woman who no longer clings to certainty, because she finally understands her life is guided by something wiser than her fear. And in this space of deep trust, a new strength rises through you. A strength that no setback can shake, no person can take, no storm can dissolve. Because the woman who stops needing to know becomes the woman who is finally free to become. 16. The crown becomes lighter. There comes a moment in a woman's evolution when she begins to notice something subtle, something quiet, something sacred shifting inside her. That heaviness she carried, the weight on her chest, the pressure on her mind, the ache in her spirit, begins to lift. Not because her responsibilities disappear, not because her life suddenly becomes effortless, but because she finally releases what was never hers to carry. The crown she wears, the symbolic crown of strength, dignity, responsibility, grace, had always belonged to her, but for years it felt heavy. Not because it was too big for her, but because she was trying to balance it while holding burdens that were never designed for her shoulders. You see, a woman's crown becomes heavy when her life fills with weight she did not choose, expectations that were never hers, people who drained instead of poured, relationships she kept alive because she feared being alone, dreams she carried that belonged to someone else's vision, roles she played that did not match her soul. And while she carried all of that, the crown felt like pressure instead of purpose. But then, something shifts. Slowly, gently, courageously, she begins to release. She lets go of the conversations she always had to initiate. She lets go of the apologies she was tired of giving. She lets go of the people who confused her loyalty with obligation. She lets go of the beliefs that made her shrink instead of expand. And with every release, with every no spoken calmly, with every boundary built without guilt, with every moment she chooses her peace over her patterns, the crown becomes lighter. She realizes the weight didn't come from the crown. The weight came from the distractions wrapped around it. The crown was never meant to feel like a burden. It was meant to feel like an alignment, a natural settling into who she already is. And once she sheds the heaviness, something beautiful happens. The crown fits effortlessly, gracefully, naturally. It no longer slips. It no longer wobbles. It no longer tilts under pressure. Because now, It rests on a woman who knows her worth, a woman who understands her value, a woman who does not sacrifice her sanity to be loved, seen, or accepted. The crown becomes lighter because she becomes clearer about her identity, clearer about her boundaries, clearer about her purpose, clearer about what she will allow and what she will no longer entertain. She steps into her own life with a new kind of posture, quiet but confident, soft but unshakable, humble but undeniably powerful. And as this new sense of ease settles into her bones, she begins to sense something else rising beneath the surface, something deeper, something older, something truer. Because once the crown fits, the real woman finally returns. Which brings us into the next unfolding. 17. The return of your true self. Every woman has a version of herself she lost along the way, a version she buried to survive, a version she silenced to keep peace, a version she dimmed because the world told her she was too much. But separation, the sacred kind, has a way of stripping away every illusion she ever wore. It removes the masks she created for acceptance. It dissolves the personas she built out of protection. It breaks the attachments she mistook for love. And in the empty space that follows, in the quiet after the storm, a powerful reunion begins, the return of her true self. At first, she may not recognize this woman. She feels familiar but foreign, soft but strong, gentle but firm, like a memory she forgot she had, like a part of her that has been waiting patiently at the door of her soul. This returning self is the woman she was before the world told her who she should be, the woman who loved without fear, the woman who dreamed without limitation, the woman whose boundaries were natural, not forced, the woman who trusted her intuition more than she trusted the opinions of others. This version of her was never gone, only buried under responsibilities, buried under heartbreak, buried under the need to prove herself, buried under years of pleasing, fixing, enduring, performing. But separation, divine separation, lifts the debris. She starts to hear her own voice again. Not the voice shaped by fear, but the one shaped by truth. Not the voice influenced by others, but the one rooted in inner knowing. And as she reconnects with this truer version, something profound happens. She starts saying no without shaking. She starts saying yes without doubting. She starts honoring her needs without guilt. She starts creating space instead of clinging to what hurts. The illusions fall away. The real woman emerges. She does not rise with noise. She rises with clarity. She rises with intention. She rises with a sense of self-respect so deep that it radiates in her silence. With every new boundary, she retrieves another piece of herself. With every moment of honesty, she retrieves another piece of her voice. With every step toward alignment, she retrieves another piece of her identity. This return is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is a quiet homecoming, a spiritual exhale after years of holding her breath. And once you witness this real version of yourself resurfacing, once you feel her strength flowing through your everyday choices, once you sense her wisdom guiding you instead of your wounds, you begin to experience something extraordinary, something subtle yet undeniable, a rising that is happening inside you before it happens around you. Which brings us powerfully into the next awakening. 18. The elevation you can feel but cannot see. Elevation is a mysterious thing. It rarely announces itself. It does not always look like progress. It does not always appear as success. Sometimes elevation looks like isolation, or rest, or loss, or silence. But deep within your spirit you feel it, a quiet pull upward, a shift in your energy, a soft, steady expansion that no one else can fully see. This is the elevation that begins before visibility. The elevation that starts in the unseen. The elevation that moves through your intuition long before it materializes in your reality. At first, the change might confuse you. Nothing external seems different. Your environment looks the same. Your relationships look the same. Your routines look the same. But internally, the ground is shifting. The air feels different. Your heart responds differently. Your boundaries are firmer. Your vision is clearer. Your spirit is more alert. You begin to crave different things. Peace over approval, purpose over distraction, alignment over attention. You're no longer moved by the same temptations. You no longer tolerate the same chaos. You no longer bring yourself into conversations that go nowhere. You no longer participate in connections that leave you drained. This is what elevation feels like. Not excitement, but clarity. Not chaos, but grounding. Not noise, but knowing. It's the feeling of outgrowing versions of yourself you no longer need. It's the feeling of stepping into a future that hasn't revealed itself yet. It's the feeling of your soul rising before your circumstances catch up. And that is the magic of unseen elevation. You feel it before you can explain it. You sense it before you can see it. You trust it before anyone else understands it. You start making choices your old self would argue with. You start walking away from things your old self would chase. You start preparing for blessings that have not yet arrived. Because somewhere in your spirit, you already know something is coming. Something aligned, something promised, something meant. You can't see it, not yet. But you can feel it rising in your bones, whispering in your intuition, anchoring in your spirit. And one day, without warning, without struggle, without force, the elevation that began inside will finally touch the outside. But before it becomes visible, you must learn to trust the feeling. Because the woman who trusts her unseen elevation walks into her destiny before the door even opens. And now, as everything you've heard settles quietly into your spirit, you may begin to notice something subtle, something gentle, yet unmistakably powerful. A shift, not loud, not dramatic, but steady, like the rising of dawn. Because separation was never meant to break you. It was meant to clarify you, to cleanse the noise around you, so you could finally hear the symphony within you. Every moment you walked alone, every season where the world misunderstood you, every silence that felt too heavy to carry, was not punishment, but preparation. You were being refined, recentered, reintroduced to the woman you were always meant to remember. And now you stand here, not louder, not angrier, not desperate for validation, but aware. Aware of your worth, aware of your timing, aware of your energy, of a quiet, unstoppable power moving through your life. This is the elevation you feel before it becomes visible. This is the shift that whispers before it announces. This is the moment life bows before a woman who finally understands who she is. So breathe, deeply, softly, unapologetically, because you are no longer walking toward your destiny, you are walking in it. And everything meant for you, every blessing, every connection, every opportunity, every miracle is already on its way, already aligned, already unfolding with precision in the unseen. Your only task now is to remain open, remain steady, remain anchored in the truth you've discovered. For when a woman embraces her solitude, her strength awakens. When she honors her separation, her crown settles. And when she trusts her becoming, her entire life transforms. So as you rise from this moment, rise slowly, rise consciously, rise with the quiet certainty that your story is shifting in ways even heaven is smiling at. You are not waiting for elevation, you are stepping into it, and nothing, not the past, not fear, not doubt, not delay, can stop what has already begun. This is your turning point. This is your becoming. This is your rise.